Hello AP English. Welcome to week 3 of our distance learning. Hope you guys are ready for more. We're going to be at this and you're devouring what you've read and written thus far and struggled with on Edgenuity. I'll address that in a moment. But here we go, week 3. A few things to cover. First of all, I want to start with attendance. Go onto the portal. Make sure that you're logging into attendance every day. Some people in my classes, some people forgot one day or another. I know you guys have access. I know you're doing it on each of these days, but one day that you forget hurts our attendance, hurts your attendance. So you want to make sure and do that. Other than that, I hope you're balancing your time between relaxing and dealing with time at home, but also learning in one form or another. Yes, doing assignments for multiple classes, and then just sit back and read. Don't spend your whole day in front of Netflix or sleeping. Read some stuff. So I've given you all kinds of recommendations on reading. You guys pick up a book, either a whole book or an essay of something, and do some thorough reading. Keep broadening your minds. All right, with all that, let's discuss the Edgenuity of this week. I'm recording this on Saturday now, so you guys might be, you're probably now this evening going to get to your Edgenuity and wrap it up, hopefully. But I understand if you had trouble. If you're seeing this on Sunday or mid of next week and you didn't do the Edgenuity because you had technical difficulties, I'll excuse you. I didn't want to excuse everyone right away, because I still think it's beneficial. I think those were lessons that you could have gotten something from your understanding on whether Declaration of Independence or author's purpose and word choice, and these, you guys all had different lessons, different grade levels, but hopefully you did that. Hopefully you continue to use Edgenuity, although I will not, because of technical issues and you guys finding it differently and not one set of assignments that I could give you. I won't assign another Edgenuity lesson. We'll be doing more AP curriculum from here through the end of distance learning. But if you did this week, yes, you'll get credit. If for technical reasons you weren't able to, then you're excused. Don't worry about it. Don't need to make it up. We're not going to recreate Edgenuity. We'll move forward with next week. So bring us to, let's see. No, before we move into next week, let's review a little bit about last week. So the assignments that you turned into me last week, remember the Real Miami and This Is Water. You did a compare and contrast and rhetorical analysis. You would see grades in the grade book by now. I graded those this week. With Teams, I had difficulty. It took me a little while to get to the files. Teams is not a perfect process for turning things in. None of this is a perfect process. What can we do? Ideally, we'd be in a classroom and you'd be turning things into me in my hand. But as it is, I was able to read. I gave you comment. I didn't really give you comments on your papers. So the feedback that I could give you generally for most of you is on the compare and contrast. I think you guys did a good job. I mean, you looked at both of those and you got to the essence of them both, and you saw where they're very different and they still related. And so I have no problem with your understanding and your analysis. Now your writing could continue to improve, and that's the point of this year. That's where we're at. You guys know how to think, you know how to write, you know how to form paragraphs, but are you elevating your diction? Are you elevating your eloquence in the sentence variety? If, each of your paragraphs is starting with Wallace did blah, 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 and Wallace did blah, 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 and Wallace says blah. Sentence variety. You should be able to see your sentences and see a need for variety in your expression. So looking for the best possible words and the best sentence structure, the best syntax to put all this more eloquently together. So that's what I'm looking for, not vary this or vary that. Stop using that word at all. Elevate your diction, elevate the syntax, and be more artful with your writing, which is what rhetoric and what this class is about. So start showing me what you've learned throughout the year in your writing. That's what I want to see. I'd say the same thing goes for the rhetorical analysis essays that you wrote. This wasn't the technical 45-minute that you're going to be tested on this year, but based on whichever one of those two that you chose to analyze, I think you picked the one that you understood, the one that you liked, and you liked it for certain reasons, and you're focused on those reasons that made it captivating, made it something effective. I think you understood that. I agreed with your analysis. I want to see improvement in your expression of your analysis, whether the creativity in your words. Let it go deeper. Which brings me to what we are doing this week. This week, we're looking at the first lessons of College Board's APLang videos. So those daily videos that they've been releasing, I've talked to you about them. I've encouraged you to watch those. I want you to keep watching those, especially going back to the first 5. The first 5 of those videos all dealt with the rhetorical analysis of 18th century prose writing. 18th century is tough to understand sometimes. This is not overly formal, but this is a different time period. And the diction, the expression, the words that you are familiar with and you'll understand may mean a little bit different to those people at that time. And that's what you're trying to get from Abigail Adams' letter to her son on his journey. So you're going to read that prompt, you watch the videos, they're going to analyze the hell out of that prompt. Watch it with the teacher. Learn it with that teacher. That is your teacher this week. So you have 5 different videos. You have 2 assignments to complete. Those 2 assignments really are guided through the first 3 days of the daily lessons. So technically, you could watch the 3 days and you would do well on completing those 2 handouts. You turn them into me. Yay, you got A's in the grade book and you're proud of yourself. I hope that you continue and watch number 4, number 5 there, because they all go deeper into that analysis, and that's where I want you to be to get the highest possible score, to get the deepest possible comprehension on whatever prompt you are given, whatever passage you are given to read. All right, so how deep can you go? Don't just write an essay about the appeals in diction. We need to go beyond that. So yes, there's rhetorical situation, which is what our assignments are about this week, but do that. Now, hopefully you're watching this to start your week, and you will soon understand when you open the files and you get to work on those, which soon means by the end of this coming week because you procrastinate. But if you're not procrastinate, well, before you could possibly procrastinate, you need to go to the website. So I linked the 2 assignments, the 2 handouts are linked on my website in the assignments page. You can click on there and download those files and see them there, or on Teams. You go into Teams and you look at the class files, classroom files, and you can see you could find them there by the right title. So whichever way works for you, you open them and you fill those in. Whether filling them in means you print it out and you write on it, or they're PDFs. So unless you could make them editable, if you want to just write it on your own piece of paper and just don't have to copy everything that's written, just give me the pertinent blanks that need to be filled in, a graphic organizer for the first assignment, and actual writing sentences for the second assignment. All right, give me a few sentences, type it up, and just identify what it is that you're answering on the page, and find a way to answer those handouts and turn it into me. You turn them in through Teams to the assignment inbox like we did for week 1. Same process, you do it there. If you have technical difficulties, then email it to me, but I prefer that you use Teams if you find a time to use Teams, which, by the way, finding the right time to use Teams is usually off-peak hours. During the late morning to early afternoon is when most Miami-Dade County students are doing their schoolwork. So we find that Teams is slower. Edgenuity would give more problems at that time. So if you're waking up early, then get to work early, if that's your routine. Later in the afternoon, in the evening. No, I'm not encouraging you to be doing this at midnight, but off-peak hours, I think you'll have more success with uploading files and downloading files and getting things done. Let me see. Is there anything else I wanted to cover? No, people. I think just keep learning. I will post another video a little bit later this week. I want to give you a few days, hopefully, to read that Abigail Adams letter, and then by midweek or so, I will go further into analyzing it and hopefully, bounce some ideas as far as what you thought and what you picked up. If you do those things before our Zoom on Wednesday, seems like a good time to remind you that we're going to have a Zoom on Wednesday at 1:30. So join me for that. I'll send the link sometime in the next few days, and we can again discuss the Abigail Adams letter or rhetorical analysis or anything that comes up. If you guys got any issues, talk to me through Remind, through email, through Zoom, any which way. And I hope you're having a good and peaceful week. Peace, people.